What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a full mixing masterclass inside of Pro Tools with a song that I made. So basically, what I'm going to be showing you guys is how to first move the tracking session into a mixing session. Then I'm going to show you guys how to mix the song, the vocals and the beat. And then we're going to master the song. We're going to get it super loud. And then we're going to A-B the recording session from the mixing session so you can see the difference between a quick mix during a tracking session and a full-on in-depth mix and master. I have a Pro Tools session pulled up here. This is the tracking session from the other night where I recorded the song, and we have to turn this into the mixing session. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to play a couple bars of the song for you from the tracking session so you can get an idea of what we're listening to, and then we're going to go ahead and build up the mixing template. So let's go ahead and let me play a little piece of this for you.
Wapo, you made it.
Yeah. Trigger Man 2026. Let's ride. Yeah.
This year we outside, we celebrated. The weed clear, smoke up, we hella faded. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rep me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, find me up in the cut.
Cool. So you get the idea of what the song is. It's a rap song, just like bars, straight bars the whole time. So I want to get the song sounding really, really good. This is just a tracking session, so like it was just a quick EQ, quick compression. You could see here I didn't really do much of anything. Just a dip around 512 and another dip around 1500, and then a low shelf and the roll off, and that's it. On this, we just used RVox and we got a good bit of compression happening. I want to get more in depth with this mix. There's plugins that I don't want to use, like this one. I'm not going to use this one in the mixing session. Same with this right here. I'm going to switch this out. So the first thing that we have to do when you're done recording your song, right? So you've just got done in your tracking session. You have a whole song, you're ready to go. What you want to do for the mixing session, right, is so you saved everything. You want to go up here again, and you want to save another version that you can mess with, so you still have that other version. So I would just put dot, and then I put let's put Flight Club dot mixing. And that way we know that this is a different one that we have for us to mess with. Now, when we make changes inside of this one, we're not going to be affecting the original one from the tracking session. What I'm going to do after doing that is I'm going to delete all the tracks that I do not need in the session. That's going to be buses, sends, and other tracks too, like VCAs right here. We don't need these either. So all these tracks right here, this is a click track. We don't need it. The consolidate track, that was just to get that bounce from the tracking session, so we don't need that either. We don't need the master, the all vocal. We don't need any of these tracks. They're all buses or sends. Delete. We'll hit delete because there's active clips on it, but we'll hit delete. And another thing that we don't need is this low pass filter, right? This is just for the quick session. But we're going to actually do some in-depth low pass filtering for the actual song. So we also do not need this. So we're going to go ahead and delete that as well. We don't need this record track right here. We're going to keep the throw, okay? We're going to keep that. We're going to keep all the lead vocals. Now, zoom out, make sure there's no lead vocals here. We're going to delete this extra track. We don't need it. We have an extra ad-lib track here. We'll go ahead and delete that one. Then we're going to actually delete both the buses for the vocals. Delete. Now we're left with only this stuff. Now all of the effect sends can get deleted as well. Now all we have is the vocal tracks and the beat. We're left with only that. Now what I'm going to do before anything else is, because I deleted the low pass filtering, I'm going to pull this beat back out so it's at its normal place so we can do all that stuff later on in the mixing. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Option, and I'm going to click on all these plugins, and I'm going to hit no insert. So I'm going to take all the plugins off. This way we have a fresh, clean start. Then I'm going to highlight every track in the session, and I'm going to change the outputs here to output headset or output 1, 2, whatever yours is. It's either headset or output 1, 2. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the beat because it's the entire length of the song, and I'm going to go down and I'm gonna consolidate all these tracks. If you don't know how to consolidate, all you're doing is you're going down to the track with the highlighted section, and you're holding Option Shift and you're hitting 3. And that consolidates the track. And then if you want to go down to the next one, keeping that same highlighted section, it's the key right under the P. So P goes up, and then the key right under P takes you down. But it's not the L; it's the other key right under P. I don't know what it's called, but you just go down to the next one, Option Shift 3, and we're just gonna do all of those here real quick. Get this one, and then we're gonna get this one. Now all of these are the same exact length, and they're all just solid tracks here. Now what we could do is highlight all these tracks. We're gonna go into the clips list here, and now only those tracks are highlighted out of everything in the entire track or session. And then we're gonna go up here to this triangle. We're gonna hit Export Clips as Files. We're gonna go here to Choose. We're gonna come. I'm just gonna save them to my desktop in a folder called Stems. That way, I just know where they're at, and then hit Export. They'll export just like that, and then you don't really need to do anything with this. This is just that session. So you can save the session and then you can close that session. We don't need that session anymore. Now the next thing we're gonna do is I have a automation script thing here that I got from Ben Thomas. So I'm gonna use this. It's just to keep everything organized. And if you want this script, comment script below in the comment section, and I will actually send you the script. It's a script that you add into Apple, and it gives you this little option where you can click on that, and it names a file for you. I'm gonna show you here in a second. So the song name is Flight Club. So when I hit create, what's gonna happen is it's gonna take me to my folders, and I'm gonna be able to place this automatic folder inside of my music right here. And you can see the original Flight Club is right there, but we're gonna hit choose. And so what it did was inside of my name right here, it opens up this file called Fight Club, and on the inside it has another file, and then on the inside of that one it has some more files. We have a file for sessions, original stems, exported stems, additional stems, whatever. I got this from Ben Thomas. It's 100% his idea, but I just put together a script and I was able to get the same exact thing. So now we have this right here, right? So now we have this old session right here. We can take the old session and we can move it in here to project assets into sessions. Now the old session, the tracking session, is inside of the mixing session. So we have everything organized. Okay, so now what you can do is we're gonna go back up to Pro Tools and we're gonna make a new session with no template. So deselect the templates, and you can name it whatever. I'm just gonna name it the name of the song, and I'm going to place this. I'll show you. You're gonna click on this and you're gonna place it right in here. So this is the assets, so everything from the tracking session, and then your folder is gonna be right here. So you're gonna open it right there, and we're gonna hit create. 48 hertz, 24-bit, last used, the norm. Just no template. Make sure you deselect create from template. Okay, so you're gonna be greeted with a brand new session inside of Pro Tools. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to import the actual multi-tracks from the session, right? So that's on the desktop right here inside of stems. We're gonna highlight these. We're gonna hit copy. We're gonna hit open. Open again. And I'm just gonna put them on a new track because there's nothing else in the session. So what you'll see when you open it up is just a bunch of tracks in random places. They're all highlighted. So while they're all highlighted, hold Option Shift, go up here to the inputs and change that to no input. Yeah, you don't want to leave any random inputs like that. So the first thing you want to do is identify all the tracks, right? This is the beat right here, so we're gonna put that at the top. Then we have Ad-Lib right here, Ad-Lib. These are both the lead vocals. Okay, so now we're gonna import the actual mixing template. So make sure you're clicked on the bottom track down here. Go up to File, Import, and then Session Data right here. Then you're gonna click on my mixing template or whichever mixing template you have, and you're gonna hit Open, and it's gonna give you this window right here. So what you're gonna do is, depending on whether you have a 2-track instrumental or you have the actual musical instruments of the beat. For me, because I only have the 2-track, I'm not gonna hit drums, bass, keys, guitars, none of that. I'm gonna go reference mix, mix bus, print, master, all music. I'm gonna skip drums and bass. I'm gonna skip all vocals, all keys, all guitars, all synths, all that. We're gonna go all the way down here to all leads. We're gonna click that one and all backgrounds. Then this song has one lead vocal. So we'll take one lead vocal, which is the folder and the tracks. So we can skip lead vocal bus 2. We don't need another or a third one. Then this has some ad-libs. So we're gonna get an ad-lib track going. And then we're gonna scroll down past the background vocals. We have no background vocals. And we're gonna select from the first effect, which is plate reverb, all the way down to all effects. Now, if you need or if you have any popping or anything wrong with the initial recording, you could bring in the RX return, but we're not going to do that. It's not necessary. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to click this window configurations button. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to open and close different windows the same way as my tracking session or my mixing template. So let's go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to open up all those tracks. Give it a second to load. Cool. So now we have the mixing template inside of the session, all there. We have all of the effects right here, and then we have the ad libs, and then we have the lead vocals. And this is really simple and easy to work with. So now let's get the tracks in their designated spots, right? Okay, so for the beat, because it's just a 2-track instrumental, we're going to go to the output, and we're going to go to track here, and we're just going to make this go to all music. So down here, this is where this track will be going. It'll be right here, all music. So it's going to be going through this track, and we're going to make this inactive so we're not confused by the saturation happening. Now that the beat is in the correct spot, what I like to do is I just like to color the beat just so it's standing out so I don't lose it. And then now I'll move on to the actual vocals. So we have both these lead vocals here. Just take these and go ahead and drag these down to the first lead vocal bus. And that will be right here. So now we have those there. And we don't need these 3 right here. So we can delete those. Now you have your lead vocals in the proper spot. Now let's go back up here. We can grab the ad-libs, which is this one and this one. And we will drag these down to the ad-lib bus right here. And we will delete these other 2 tracks that are not needed. Now we have the lead vocals and the ad-libs. Now we also have a half delay throw here. And we want to keep that. So we're going to drag this down to the half delay throw. And then I'll get rid of all these other ones here because we don't need them. And if we do need them, I can always just make them later. That's one thing that I like to be in the habit of. And I'm just chopping this up just because my brain's weird and I don't like to see it as whole blocks after it's in the session. I don't know why. You don't have to do that. But I plan on making more edits and stuff like that. So I like to just chop it. I don't know why. Okay, so now you can come up here. You can delete all of these tracks that were just where the other tracks were. So now we're left with a reference mix as well. So now we want to actually get a reference mix so we can see if we're doing better than before. So go back into audio, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into that session. Okay, Flight Club. I'm going to go to Project Assets, Sessions, Flight Club, and here is the bounced song from the tracking session. You know, everybody likes to leave with a song to listen to, so we always have a tracking session bounce. We're going to open that up. We're going to put that into the clips list here. And then we're going to come over here to the clips list, open it up. And then we're going to drag this right here. This is the reference mix. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the beat and we are going to bring that down here right below the vocals. So the vocals are right here and then the beats right here. So if you want to play what's happening in here, what you have to do is you have to make sure you turn the input on the print track or you're not going to hear anything. Why? Is because the mix bus is going into this print track, right? And the print track is just going into nothing right here. It's just going into this master. So in order to be able to hear this, you have to turn this on. So we're going to keep this reference mix on mute and we're just going to keep it there for later on so we can just go back and forth A-Bing and making sure that we're doing as good or better than before. So now we're pretty much good to start the mixing process of the song, right? So when I'm mixing a song with the 2-track, I'm pretty much always going to start with mixing the vocal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the vocal bus here and I'm going to click down onto the last track and I'm just going to solo this out right here. and that way you can only hear this part right here. Make sure input monitoring is on. Don't forget that. You're gonna be going crazy like, why can't I hear anything? And it's just that simple button. So now we'll only hear the lead vocals and the throw. Okay, so real quick before we continue, I did actually miss something. We missed the bus here. So I have the all music but not the all vocals bus. So go up to files, import session data, and this is only if you're using my template. So click open, and then you want this all vocals bus as well. I completely forgot. So go ahead and open that up. That's going to open up right there. And now I can hear my vocals. I was wondering why I couldn't. It's because from all leads, it goes to all vocals, and we did not have that bus, and I forgot it. So now when you play it, you should be able to hear everything. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do now that everything's ready to rock is I'm going to solo out the lead vocals here and the throw. And I'm just going to listen.
Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, we celebrated.
And so I made a mistake when I was recording this song, right? I recorded the song right next to my speakers and they were on. So every time I was recording a vocal, I was recording my voice back into the it's bad. And I was able to make it sound good on the tracking session, so I'm sure I'll be able to work with it here in the mixing. But it is kind of annoying that I did that. I normally don't make a mistake like that. And this song was just too good for me to want to go back and like fix it. So I was like, no, we have to make this work. So let's go ahead and make this work. First things first, we're gonna listen to the vocal and we're just gonna hear what we need.
Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, we celebrated.
And you can hear the music in the background while I'm playing, while I'm singing and rapping. You can hear it in the background.
This year we outside, we celebrated. We celebrated.
Not good. There's not there's not a ton of different ways to fix something like that. One way that we could try, and I'm always willing to try this one way here, is with a plugin that I like to call Vocal Prep. And this plugin is pretty astronomical. It can take out a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be in a vocal. So I remember I have the stems here. So let's go ahead and take the lead vocal and let's do one at a time here. And we're going to see if we can clean this audio up using Vocal Prep. Hopefully we can. So let's go ahead and see. This is what it removed from the vocal. So let's go ahead and listen. It sounds like it removed the beat. So let's check the prepped vocal here.
Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated.
Isn't that incredible? Like it took the music out of the background, literally.
This year we out. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wap, will find me up in the cut.
So that's the original.
Bounty on that boy head like Jabba.
You can hear the kick in the background from my speakers.
Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wap, will find me up in the cut.
And then this one, it took it straight out. So we'll export that. This is going to be prepped. We're going to move it right back into that file. So that's the first one. And now that we have that, we're going to go back into that file again. Here's the prepped one for this version right here. Now we're going to do the duplicate lead vocal, open. We're going to clean that one as well. We're going to go up to desktop here. We're going to go to stems, and we're just going to grab the prepped ones here. We're going to unselect that one. Just grab the prepped ones, open again, clips list, and then we're just going to drag in the new ones right over top of the old ones. Boom. And they should be way cleaner now. So let's go ahead and listen to that.
Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, we celebrated. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wap the Reaper better.
And let's go ahead and mute these Ad-Libs.
At a Lambo just to swap at the side, we celebrated. Yeah, we celebrated. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to
Okay, so now that we cleaned up the part of that vocal, right, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to this little waveform right here. I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to make this really big, and I'm just going to check out make sure there's no little dots in areas that don't need to be dots. Like you see right here where this little dot is, this one's fine. But if there was one like right here, I would cut that out because it's a pop or a click or just something that's not good. But it looks like I did a good job during the tracking session when it comes to cleaning up the vocal. So if you didn't, just clean up now before we start the actual session. Do not skip it. You will regret it. I promise. And the only way you're gonna regret it is if you actually hear your work in its fullest. So just take the time to do it this time, and then if you want to do it next time without extra cleanup, do that, and then just peep the difference. Like, the difference is crazy. Like, cleaning up is important, very important. The first thing I do with every song before I actually get into the bus and start opening plugins, I open up a session of Pro Q4 here, and I'm gonna go up into the high frequencies, and I'm gonna look for any sort of ringing at all, and I'm going to eliminate that straight out of the song. I never want to have my mix fall victim to some sort of loud ringing. So let's listen and let's find that ringing. And also, just to be clear, this session, this Pro Q4 is on the actual lead vocal track, not on the bus. So this is happening before all the bus processing. So let's go ahead and find some sort of loud frequency. If there is none, then there is none, but we have to look.
Yeah, we celebrate, and we ain't clearing smoke. We celebrate it. 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 We celebrate it.
I hear a little something something going on up here, so I just I make the cue tighter. I bring it up a little bit. I don't want to blow my ears off, but I just want to hear what I'm listening to.
We celebrate it. We celebrate it. We celebrate it. We celebrate it.
And you can hear right there, there's some sort of squeaking, and this is a search and destroy mission. So you're literally finding it.
We celebrate it. We celebrate it. We celebrate it.
Right there, it's hitting my ear. So I'm just gonna pull that down by like -3 to -6 and get that just out of the way. It wasn't very, very harsh, so maybe like -3.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. We celebrate it.
And that just kind of cleans the vocal up before we start enhancing anything, right? And I really like to do that. So let me go ahead and turn off the throw so we're not distracted by that delay. And let's go ahead and let's open up the first plugin in the list. And the way that I would do this, right, is like I always start with my main plugins. And it may look like a lot, but I'm not going to end up using all of them. I might end up switching some of them out. It's all creative, right? So let's start with the VLC by Hazel Rig Industries. And I normally like to use this for like a low cut and also maybe a high cut or a high boost, depending on if we need it. And this plugin comes in loud too, so it's gonna be super loud. We're gonna have to turn it down.
This year we outside. This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah.
I do want to make the vocal a teeny bit louder, so we are gonna give it a little bit extra. Then we're not gonna bring the gain matching all the way down perfect.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
Just bringing that vocal up front a little more. Everything that I do during the session, I'm gonna exaggerate it, and then I'm gonna pull back just so you can hear everything that I'm doing, so you can really hear it.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to late. This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
I normally just boost each one of them, and then just, it's all a creative thing. I'm just listening.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to late. This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but
so now just bypass and like listen to what I did.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrate it. This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah.
Bring this high boost down a bit.
This year we outside.
Even more.
This year we outside, we celebrate it. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. This year we outside, we celebrate.
Sounds good. This is just a subtle move. Just giving it a little bit of like oomph. Like a little bit of we're just giving it a little bit of power. Now, let's get into some more cleaning work. So we're going to open up some de-essing, and let's de-ess this vocal here. So we're jumping way past -6. I don't like the DS past -6 with this particular plugin, so we're gonna back that off. And also, we're gonna do two different methods to find the correct spot for the for the S sounds. Okay, so what I want to do here is just try to get it to where I'm getting like right under -6. And I'm in my frequency around 5200, and let's play it now with the audio on.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. And don't overthink the S'ing. Do it, get it done with, and then move on. If you sit there and listen to the S sounds forever and dwell on it, it's never gonna sound good to you. So obviously, next thing we have to do is move on to some Pro Q. Now, I have a WA73 EQ, and I thought I was rolling off the low end, but I just recently learned that the EQ button on the hardware activates the entire EQ circuitry. So without the button engaged, you're actually not getting the roll off. So this whole time, I was not rolling off any sort of low frequencies like I thought I was, and I was wondering why inside of Pro Tools I was still
This
seeing.
year we outside.
I was wondering why I was still seeing those low frequencies, and that's why, because I wasn't rolling any off. So we're gonna do that inside Pro Tools. Always an 18 dB octave for me. That's what I like to use.
We celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to leave. This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
And I'm not overthinking all my moves, right? So like I'm making a move and then I'm sticking to that move. I'm not second guessing it going back. This is what I picked right here, so that's what it is. And if anything, if I absolutely have to go back, it would be just because there's a little bit of a boomy frequencies that I'm hearing, that I would just like roll that back a little bit. And I'm not gonna do that right now, so I'm gonna leave that right around here.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to leave.
All right, cool. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a dynamic low shelf. I love making these. So what I'm gonna do.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah.
So all that boomy stuff right there. What we're gonna do is pull that down. We have the shelf. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold Option and click, and then I'm gonna come up here to the dynamic section, and I'm gonna drag down the dynamics, so it's dynamic. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna only affect the most boomy frequencies. So like when you're going boomy and that boom, that's when that's gonna pull it down. Just this corner right here, and it's just gonna kind of cushion it.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah.
And we could even bring that back up a bit.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah.
Okay, so the next move I'm gonna make is probably gonna be in the 400 to 500 hertz region, and we're just gonna get rid of a bunch of the boomy frequencies.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
So right around 450, 466 right there. I'm gonna open up the queue just a bit, and then I'm gonna drag this down, and I'm gonna square it off by holding Option and Shift, and then clicking the dot 2 times. And I just like to square it off. It's just something I got from Ben Thomas, and yeah, it's just really it makes it sound better to me. Like it makes me feel like I'm getting the right frequencies cut.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
And it's not like overly killing, like it's not super overbearing, so we're not gonna cut too much.
This year we outside.
This is what would happen if we cut too much.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there.
So just a dip like that is cool. And then let's move on. And also another thing too, there is no secret to EQing a vocal, right? So like when I say move on to the next one or let's do another band, there's not like a set number or amount that I'm doing. I'm just clicking bands and listening to frequencies until I'm done. Just like a painting or a drawing. So like I'm just if I go here and then I scroll over here while listening and there's nothing that I hear, then I'm not gonna mess with anything. So like
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to watch for the cuts.
like right here, I might make a tiny little cut right here. Just where that high frequency stuff is.
Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like to the loop.
And that's it. Like, there's nothing else in this vocal that I'm gonna overly mess with. And that's it. There's nothing else in this vocal that you need to overly mess with. So let's play it back, bypass it, and let's just make sure that it sounds better before we move on.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. This year we outside. This year we outside.
It sounds better. One thing though, you want to increase the output level a bit since reducing frequencies does make the overall volume quieter. So maybe like a little bit less than a dB.
This year we outside, we celebrate.
And then bypass and just get that gain match right.
This year we outside, we celebrated.
That sounds good to me. Make sure you're saving too every once in a while. You know, waves and autotune been acting up lately. So you don't want your session closing without it saving. And then you have to go back and re-pro cue the entire vocal. That would suck. One thing, I recorded this vocal with a WA76 and a WA2A. So because I already had a bunch of compression going in, right? The next plugin here is 1176. We're gonna skip that plugin. We're not gonna use that. We don't need it. If anything, we can add a little RVox. I like using RVox as a plugin when I don't really know what else to use, if you get what I'm saying, right? So like I know I need compression there a little bit at least, but I don't want to use the LA2A. I don't want to use the 1176. I don't want to use the Tube Tech, and I definitely do not want to use Neutron. It's going to be coming off the end of this chain here too. I might just get it now. It's gone now. And so let's just do a little bit of compression with RVox, and then we'll move on to shaping this vocal more. So the way that I'm going to use this compressor is I'm going to highlight the compressor and the gain so they both come down at the same time. And then I'm going to get my compression, and then I'm going to bring the gain back up. So I'll show you exactly how I do everything. So first, I'm going to play it, and then let's get some compression.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah.
Okay, so I got my compression. Because we did compression, the vocal is going to be quieter. So on bypass, if you look here.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah.
So it's still quiet. So let's bypass Pro Q.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get close to that 10 using these plugins. So I'm going to do a 0.2 here. Then I'm going to come into Pro Q. I'm going to do a little bit of a boost here as well. Just a little bit. And then in RVox, we're going to get the rest of that boost going.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to boost this until we're getting close to the 10.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, and we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like to the loop.
Cool. And you don't really need the gate in this type of scenario. You can use it anyway.
This year we outside, we celebrated.
Just be careful using it because you could cut the vocal off and it's just not necessary. If you were using that plugin in as like the first plugin and you wanted to gate the vocal, whatever, but you don't need to gate the vocal right here. Now we got some compression. The vocal is nice and loud. What I'm gonna do before I move on is I'm gonna check these 4 plugins with the beat on. So I'm gonna select these 2 tracks. I'm gonna turn off solo, and let's see where the vocal is sitting in the beat.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, hella faded.
We're getting there, right? So that sounds good like that. It's at the right level. Everything sounds cool. So now the next plugin I'm gonna use is Spectre. Spectre is not just an EQ. So before we even get into the plugin, what Spectre is it is a parallel processor that, so when I make a boost in this plugin, right, if I boost this right here, what it's doing is it's not just boosting the EQ, it's making a parallel signal of the vocal and it's saturating it. And it sounds really good. I love this plugin. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this plugin to boost some frequencies, but it's also going to be saturating them and just making them sound really good and harmonically. I'm going to turn on de-emphasis, and I'm going to leave standard quality for now. We're going to turn this on to good or best whenever it's time to export. First things first, I'm going to mess around with this high band here and get my high end setting correctly.
This year we outside, we celebrated.
And for this, I'm gonna actually use the beat while it's on. And if you increase this all the way like this, you're gonna hear the vocal increase a lot.
This year we outside, we celebrate. We
Right?
celebrate.
We just want the high end, so we're gonna be over here with it.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, hella faded. We hella faded.
So cool. That sounds fine to me. It's cutting through the beat. It's a bit much. I might pull that back just a bit. It's a lot.
This year we outside, we celebrated. We
That sounds
celebrated.
good to me. So now we have this band right here, right? And this is the life of the vocal right here. This is where I get the tone of the vocal. Now, in all my master classes, I always say the same thing. You have choices when it comes to this band, right? There's going to be frequencies that sound good here. There might be one that sounds good here. There might be one that sounds good here. And you have the artistic choice to decide what you want the overall vocal to sound like. Do you want the vocal to be kind of like high and like Lil Wayne type? Do you want the vocal to sit in the mids like a Drake vocal? Do you want the vocal to be low, like really low? It's completely up to you. But there's going to be a frequency here, here, and here. It's always three that I end up hearing that I could use for the vocal. I normally go with this top one or the mid one, but let's go ahead and play it and then let's listen. And we're gonna use the beat. We're gonna have the beat on for context.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like.
This is arguably a good frequency that you could use, and also if you wanted to use it, you would be bringing this down.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. We hella faded.
One could argue that this frequency is a bit too boxy, so you can move up further up here, and we'll go ahead and do that.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to.
So this frequency right here just gives that the vocal a bit more bite.
Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to.
This one has just a little bit more body and a little bit more boxiness coming in down here around 800. But this one, it gives it a lot more of that like sharpness. And then finally, for the last one,
clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there.
This is the one that I tend to use for myself. It's like a little bit more towards the high end frequencies. It's just a bit more of a crack, and it sounds really, really good.
Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. We already made it.
So it's always between these three different areas, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sweep around this area and find the frequency that makes me stop scrolling around.
Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch.
That's the frequency that I decided on. So we got 2.6 dBs increase around 3.8 kilohertz. And then we have a 5 dB increase around 9.2 kilohertz. I'll probably dial that back just a bit.
Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. We already made it.
So I'm gonna settle on about 5 dBs around 9.5. And that's cool for me. So we can move on from that plugin now. Now what we're gonna do next is get more control over the vocal again. So what I'm gonna open up next here is I'm gonna switch out this Pro Q, and I'm going to switch out the 404, which is this multiband compressor right here. I'm gonna switch this out for a more simple multiband compressor, C4. I like C4 because it's very intuitive and easy to use. With this multiband, it really like lets me hear what I'm doing. Like the effects of the plugin sound better than others. I'm going to change the Q to 75, and I'm going to switch the first band here to around 10K. I'm going to make this band go to around 25K, and then I'm going to make this band go up to around like 250 around there. and that looks better to me. Now we can go ahead and we can start reducing some frequencies. So we're gonna start with the high band here. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bypass the top band, and we're gonna start working with this band right here first. So we're just gonna pull down the threshold, and we're gonna get a little bit of reduction happening. And I just want it jumping down during like the most like hardest parts of my vocal. So when I say smoke, it jumps down. I like that. So now we're gonna use this bypass button here to get the gain right. So you hear, so when I hit bypass, it's kind of hard to hear, but when I hit the bypass button, it gets louder. That's because we're compressing. So if you bypass this, it's naturally gonna be louder. So we're gonna turn this up a bit. That sounds better. So now we'll move on to this band right here. I like to start with these middle bands because those are the ones that I'm really here for in the first place. If we need the high band or the low band, we'll use them, but we're really here for these. Let's go ahead and get something going on right here. We're gonna pull down the threshold, same as the other one. So you can barely hear it, but the volume jumps whenever I bypass it. Cool. So the level is matched, everything sounds good. We're gonna get a little bit going on here with the low band. And the bypassing technique on the low band is a little hard because it's a lot of frequencies that you can't even hear. So you kind of have to just trust your gut when you're doing it. So like you're going to hear the tiniest little bit of information, and that's all you're going to be able to use in order to get the level match. Just trust your gut. You'll be all right. All right, so now the plugin itself has turned down everything, right? So you can use this gain right here or the output knob, and you can turn up the entire thing. So that's why I'm going to use this right here. This is the master for all of these gains right here. That sounds good to me. And like I say in all my videos with wave plugins, never hit this W over here. You're gonna regret it. Don't do it. So now that we got some multi-band compression now, we're gonna use Su2 to clean everything up. Anything that we missed. I do use the presets inside this plugin. I'm not scared to say that. They sound really good. All the presets sound amazing. So why not use them? And let's listen to the vocal and let's hear what we need before we select one.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like Toodaloo. Lil Wap the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll run me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wap, will find me up in the cut.
And notice I pulled the mix down. You don't need to do so much on it. It's working really effectively, so I'm not going to take out too much. But yeah, just making sure it's not overworking.
We celebrated, yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded, yeah, hella faded.
That sounds super good to me. So lastly, this is the final Pro Q. I use this to clean up anything else I could possibly desire. Add any sort of saturation. So like there's a saturation button here. We'll click on subtle.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded, yeah, hella faded.
And it does sound really good, right? So I'm gonna get rid of all this low end information. I don't want it.
We outside, we celebrated, yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, hella faded, yeah, hella faded. Bottles in this bitch. I'll be there at 12, but like Toodaloo. Lil Wap the Reaper, better watch for the cut, yeah. Swap out the guts, put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wap, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wap will pull truck.
Very carefully taking out a little bit around 450, just a very little bit, and then also adding a little bit at 522 for the vocal to just punch through a little more, and I added some subtle saturation. So that's all I'm doing to this vocal for this part. So now let's listen.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Yeah, promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to.
All right, so now we can move on to the ad-libs, and the ad-libs are awesome. It's the easiest part. So we're going to turn the plugins on, hold Option, and we're going to drag down these plugins from the lead vocal to the ad-libs. We're not going to leave them like that, but we're going to quickly get similar settings so we don't have to sit there and waste too much time. So as you're going down here, you're just dragging the plugins to their spot. Everything that I did to the lead vocal, just a little less. So I might turn that down a little bit there in the input for that plugin, and then I'll check here. This has a +1. This might just be like +88. RVox has a lot of gain. We might pull that down just a teeny bit. We're just getting a little bit less volume from everything, just in little sections. So here's the ad-libs. Cool. So the ad-libs are just full vocals right now, so we need to add a pro cue to the actual track, and we're going to turn these into some ad-libs, right? So we're gonna bring this one here. We're gonna come here. We're gonna bring this one like right here, and now this should sound more like an ad-lib. And we're gonna turn the volume down as well, just a teeny bit.
Trigger man, 2026. Let's ride. This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated. Clear smoke up, we hella faded. Yeah, popping bottles in this bitch like we already faded. Yeah, popping bottles. This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah, celebrated.
So this sounds off to me, so I'm just not even gonna waste my time with it. I'm gonna delete them, and we have this track here, so we can just fix it. You know what I mean? It sounds like it needs to be on the beat a little bit better, so we'll get that going. And it's just for this right here.
This year we outside, we celebrated. Yeah.
So highlight. You don't have to separate it or anything. Just highlight and then hold Command C to copy, P to go up to the half, and hit here. And then we're gonna take off this little portion right here, and we're gonna listen.
We celebrated. Yeah. Celebrated.
And just as I suspected, it's just too slow. So I like to use the milliseconds here to adjust, and we'll see which way we need to go.
We celebrated. Yeah. Celebrated.
Other way.
Celebrated.
We celebrated. Yeah. Celebrated.
And it's still too slow, so we'll keep working it back.
We celebrated. Yeah. We clear smoke up. We celebrated. Yeah. We clear smoke up. We hella faded.
That sounds close. We could leave it there for now, and we'll adjust as well.
We celebrated. Yeah. We clear smoke up. We hella faded.
Same thing with this one. Highlight C, Command C, and then go up, and then paste, Command V, and then.
We clear smoke up. We hella faded. Yeah. Bottles in this.
Okay, now I can hear it. Now I can hear where we're
We clear smoke up. We hella faded. Yeah.
So we needed to be a little bit of more of a space.
We clear smoke up. We hella faded. Yeah. Bottles in this bitch.
We're getting closer. We'll just keep adjusting it.
Yeah. Bottles in this bitch like we already made.
We'll go ahead and do the same thing for this one.
Like we already made it. Yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I run me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out for Lil Wapple. Find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting.
I don't know if this one will work, but I'm gonna try.
For Lil Wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V.
I guess we could turn this down.
Twisting for Lil Wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wapple pulling up when he back in the truck. Yeah.
Alright, and Cool. So that's really all you need for that, right? Now the next thing that we can do is we can go up here to the all leads, and we're just gonna get a little bit of extra de-essing and volume out of the complete vocal, right? So first things first, I want to de-ess this vocal a bit more around the high frequencies. So I'm gonna use a Wise de-ess, and I'm just pulling this frequency down, and I just want to clip the S's just a bit.
Building in this motherfucker locked in, locked in, locked in. Building in this motherfucker locked. Building in this motherfucker locked in. Building in this motherfucker locked in, locked in.
And let me play from the jump.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt.
And what that's doing is it's just catching any other extra S's that are gonna want to poke out, right? Then more Soothe 2. We're gonna use the factory, and I'm gonna pull this mix down a lot, and we're just gonna get a little bit more if we need it.
The Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me up like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wapple, find me up in the cut. Up in the cut.
And all that's doing is getting the last little bit of anything that we missed as far as resonances. And then now we're gonna use our Vox here to boost the vocal again even more.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch.
Now, what I want to do next is TrackSpacer doesn't have any key input, so it's not working right now. So I'm going to use the T-Spacer bus that I have. You can use bus 18, 19, 20, whatever bus you want. It's the same thing. T-Spacer was just bus 17. I renamed it. And so I'll use bus 18 just to make it feel smoother. So we have 18, so we're going to go down here to lead vocal bus, go down to bus, and we're going to find 18, which is right here. And we're going to hold option and click. That puts it up to 0. Close this out.
This year we outside, we celebrated.
And now we're getting some space for the lead vocal, right, in the beat. So around 13, 14%, nothing crazy. Everything else looks good to me. This looks good. We'll bring that in like 6.5. Let's go ahead and listen.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V8 to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wapple pulling up when he back in the truck.
So I'm using the black box on the all vocals bus here, so all the vocals are getting this, and I'm just increasing the pentode and then gain matching, and it's just giving that vocal just a bit more punch in the like 5K, 3K region around there.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for the wapple, find me up in the cut. I'm in the cut.
Yeah, that sounds really good to me. So yeah, we didn't even add any sort of reverb or anything yet. So let's go ahead and do that right now for the lead vocal bus here. What we're gonna do is calculate the reverb. So the actual song is 158 is the actual song.
Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
So we're gonna calculate the reverb first. So we're gonna take 60,000 and we're gonna divide that by 158. That gets us 379. We're gonna divide that by 2. 189. So let's actually divide that by 2 again, and we get 94. So inside of the reverb here, for this pre-delay, we're going to bring this down to 94. And then for the pre-delay, I'm going to leave that around like 20, 21. I don't care. Close that out. Now for this one, we're going to go back into the history, and the first one was 379. So we're going to do 3.79 times 2. 758 is what we're going to use here. And if you can't get that number, don't fight it. Just type it in. 758. Bit of a pre-delay going on here. And this will be that will be the long haul. I don't even think we need it or not, but I always calculate that one in 2 just in case. So now we have that. Now we can go ahead and add some reverb.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to...
Let's get these ad-libs.
Yeah. Trigger man. 2026. Let's ride. Yeah. This year we outside, we celebrated.
So for the ad-libs, we're going to do a 1/4 delay for the ad-libs, so they're bouncing in the song.
Trigger man. 2026.
And we're going to add some width to the ad-libs, just a little bit. And I don't even think we need the long haul, so we're going to ignore that. For the lead vocals here, I'm going to try a slap delay out. I'm going to exaggerate it, and then I'm going to adjust and then pull it back.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop...
And then lastly, if you need a little bit of weight to the vocal, you can add parallel compression. I'll show you how to do that.
This year we outside, we celebrated, yeah. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out of Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wop pulling up when he back in the truck.
And basically, I just did some really, really light parallel compression using this plugin from Baby Audio called iHeart NY. It's a New York style compression, and I really like using that plugin. Okay, so that is the full mix. Now let's move on to the mastering portion of the song. We're going to be using this mix bus here, and we're just going to be cleaning things up and making things really nice and loud. And then we're going to A-B the reference mix and see if we made it better. So let's start with this Pro Q, and this is for a lot of side information stuff. So making the bass mono, and making some space for the vocal, and heightening the information in the high end, like the hi-hats and stuff. We'll see if we need it. We'll see if we don't.
Yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper.
So we're just cutting out all the bass and kick and stuff from the side information, making it completely mono. Now, I'm also going to cut out with a stereo cut here. We're going to cut out everything below a certain frequency that's not necessary. So right here, you can hear those low frequencies. But right here, you can't.
Faded, yeah.
So I'm just cutting off right here at an 18 dB slope. Yeah, and I'm just cutting that. Now, let's go ahead and listen on this band right here, see if we need it.
At 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts.
And basically just cutting out some of the side information right around where the vocal's sitting, so the vocal can kind of sit in to the beat even more.
Up, we hella faded, hella faded.
Now we have this right here. The way that I use this one is I'll leave it off. I'll play the song and then I'll turn it on. And if it gives the high information more life and it sounds good, I'll keep it. If it sounds like it's like overdoing the hi-hats, I'll turn it off.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose.
And in this case, I like the way it sounds. So I'm going to leave this plugin the way it is and move on to the next plugin. We got More Soothe 2. I've used a lot of Soothe 2. Now, Balance to the Grammy Awards is the one I always use. I turn Delta on and I just adjust.
Already made it, yeah. Made it.
Low mix, very low mix, around 15%. This is a preset in here inside of vocals. It's called Balance to the Grammys, and just adjust the depth. And you can adjust the sharpness and selectivity too if you want. Not necessary, in my opinion. Sorry, some people are gonna hate that I said that. Now, make active. We have the Fern VT5. The way that I like to use this is I might cut some 30 hertz. I might boost some 60 hertz. I might cut some mids. I might boost some highs. Pretty simple. So I'm gonna boost these highs. And I'm gonna see what that sounds like when they're boosted.
Woke up, we hella faded, hella faded. Woke up, we hella faded, hella faded. Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this.
And it sounds good, so I'm gonna leave that boosted. Now I'm gonna cut 30 and see what that sounds like.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we are.
I'm gonna take away this cut. I'm gonna boost this and hear what that sounds like alone.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to.
So maybe like a 2 dB cut here and then a big old boost.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah.
Now we're gonna jump between 400 and 500 hertz here, and I like to boost this and just I'm gonna very steadily ease into a mid cut where I'm not like overdoing it.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt.
So a little 3 dB cut around 500, and then I always end up doing like a 2 dB boost in the 8K region, but I might do 16.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wop will.
So I'm completely torn between the 8K for like the vocal boost or the 16K for like the sweetening of the vocals. So like I'm half tempted to go ahead into this Pro Q here, do the 8K boost in here, right? With a stereo boost around 5K right there. I just don't know what it's cutting when it's boosting that.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah.
And then I'll use the 16K.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose.
So I'm kind of getting like the best of both worlds, I guess. I get the 8K boost, and then I also get the that's only 5K.
This bitch like we already made it. Promise I'll be there at 12, but Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts.
And then I also get the 16K boost as well. Kind of doing best of both worlds there. So yeah, it sounds good to me. Let's bypass and then let's just make sure.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose.
Yeah, that plugin greatly shaped the entire vocal. So let's move on to the next plugin, right? The next plugin is SPL Machine Head. I use this plugin for purely just like saturation, but like just emphasis of the whole song, right? It brings the whole song alive. And people be sleeping on this plugin like crazy. It sounds so good. Tape speed at 15. Let's play it and let's start on bypass and let's hear how it sounds.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to lose. Lil Wop.
You hear I brought the whole song just straight to attention. So like off.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah.
That like shoots everything straight into your ears. I love it. So always using this plugin. I always find a way to make it happen on my mix bus. So let's move on to the next plugin. A little bit of compression. Let's not overthink this. Stereo sensitivity 100, slope 6 dB, frequency 150, and we're just pushing threshold.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah.
We're doing less than a dB of total gain reduction, and we're just giving a little bit of makeup gain back in.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah.
Not gonna overthink it. Copy the settings if you must. Here's the release settings, attack setting. It's basic stuff. Now let's go into gold clip here and let's get some final stuff happening before we start limiting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use gold clip here, and I'm going to make sure, using this input right here, making sure that the level of my song is where I want it to be at for God Particle, right? And then we're also gonna get a little bit of clipping before we go into God Particle.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to.
So we're about a dB over what I want. I want -3. So we'll go -1 here, and now we'll play it.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reap.
All right, cool. So now I'm gonna try to get just a teeny bit of peak shaving.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out.
Cool. Minimal clipping happening. The song is already pretty much really well mixed together, so you don't need too much clipping going on. Now we're gonna send it straight into God Particle here, and my levels should be accurate.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this.
So you see this band up here is going crazy.
Woke up, we hella faded, hella faded.
So what that is the snare and the hi-hat and the beat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the beat here, which is right here. And we are going to pull up I'm going to turn this little thing here. And we're going to pull up a FabFilter Pro Q4. And we are going to do a high shelf here. And we're going to take out a little bit of this information.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it.
And we'll see if that helped out at all inside of God Particle here.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah.
Hella faded.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like. Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case.
Okay, so what we're gonna do before we move on to anything, I'm gonna add one more de-esser to the main lead vocal here. I'm gonna use our de-esser, and I'm gonna leave it on this band here around like 7-8K. I'm going to get those last little bit of S's out that vocal because I hear some.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the VA to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wop pulling up when he back in the truck. Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And
now the next thing I need to do is figure out what this one is because it's over.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to. Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty full of wop will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V8 to start shifting the clutch.
And I know that you're supposed to just mix into this plugin. That's not how I work. I don't mix into mastering or mixing plugins at all. That's not what I like to do. I did use this knob here just because it doesn't sound like it's like killing the song by me using it. So I'm just going to use it. I'm going to pull it back just a little bit though. I'm not like, I don't try to follow these to my core. Like if I have to go over a bit, then that's what the song is. You know what I mean?
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V8 to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wop pulling up when he back in the truck. Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V8 to start shifting the clutch.
So this portion of mastering the song, right, when you're using God Particle and just like going back and forth with the knobs and stuff like that, you're just using your brain to kind of like put the song in the place that you want it to be for the final like resting place, right? So like with these bands, I'm just messing around. I'm hearing things I don't like and I do like. So I'm just kind of setting everything where I want it. Now that I did that, I'm going to turn on my final limiter, which is not going to be Ozone. We're going to use L4 by Waves. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my output ceiling to -1. And the reason I'm doing that is for streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify. They recommend this because when you convert your song over, if you don't leave at least a dB of room in the ceiling, when you convert the song over to Apple Music and Spotify, the inner sample peaks will clip. So I like to keep that ceiling there. Some people sacrifice the quality for the loudness and they go a bit louder. Not me. I don't really need it. You know what I mean? Now I'm going to pull down the threshold and get my final loudness.
Woke up, we hella faded, yeah. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it, yeah. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there twisting the Dutch. Hop inside the V8 to start shifting the clutch. Close the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wop pulling up when he back in the truck.
I could already see in this window that we have a crazy loud song going on. It must be super loud. So let's turn on my actual meter here. Let's play the song and let's see where we're at in the meter.
Wapo, you made it. Trigger man, 2026. Let's ride. This year we outside, we celebrated. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded.
So that integrated is just going to keep going down. So that's what we want, right? So we're going to highlight the beat, right? We're going to come up here to the red print track. We're going to hit record, this record button. And now we're ready to record the bounce, right? So I'm going to hit record and play it through, and then I'll show you what to do after.
Wapo, you made it. Trigger man, 2026. Let's ride. This year we outside, we celebrated. And we ain't clearing smoke up, we hella faded. Popping bottles in this bitch like we already made it. Promise I'll be there at 12, but like 2 to Lil Wop the Reaper, better watch for the cuts. Bitch, I'll rent me out a Lambo just to swap out the guts. Put a bounty on that boy head like Jabba the Hutt. And if you looking for Lil Wop, will find me up in the cut. I'm probably somewhere out with bands out there was the case, cold case, shit was open and shut. You know Lil Wapple pulling up when he back in the truck. I got my.
So normally you would run the whole song through, right? And then what you would do then is you can double click, you can name the session, you can name the session on the actual track, Flight Club, whatever the name is. It's not gonna let me name it that. So I'll just name it whatever. Okay. Now I'm gonna turn this off, and now we have the actual song here. This is the full song. Now if you want to bounce this, right? You don't go up here and bounce it this way, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna select only this file, the final print track that you just did, and it'll be the only one selected in the song. You're going to come up here to the triangle, and you're going to go to export clips as files. You're going to choose your destination. I like to click here, Flight Club, bounce files, hit open, and then you would hit export. After you hit export, you can then close this stuff out and save this session. You hit save, hit close session. So you will have your session waiting for you in your bounced folder. And that is how you mix and master a song, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe to the channel. Also, comment below if you think that I missed anything. And if you guys want to check out my templates like the one you've seen on here, or my presets, my beats, or anything else on my website, you can check that out at mixedbyeddieofficial.com. Again, that's mixedbyeddieofficial.com. I'll leave a link in the description below for that. And again, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.